Hey guys, so just a couple things before we get into the exterior in-depth review of the Lucid Air Grand Touring model. This is a pre-production version of the car, so any weird fit and finishes that you might potentially see on the video shouldn't be there on the full production car. Hopefully. Really hope so. Second is, I did get all this footage from the Lucid studio here in Meatpacking in New York, so I was able to get a good look at the outside and the inside of the car also. Please keep in mind there are people there at the studio at the same time that I am, so I did my best to do a voiceover or cuts here and there, so if something does come out weird, I tried my best in the situation I was given, and the Lucid staff was great in letting me record everything that I possibly wanted to, so thanks to them. So guys, enjoy the video. We'll start off with the front bumper of the Lucid Air Grand Touring, and you can already see where the Lidar is, some of the lights, as well as some of the vents of where the air is supposed to go around the body of the car. Now moving it a little bit closer here, we can see the Lucid symbol that's illuminated with the backlights in the back of the letters, and aesthetically this looks really nice. The one thing that I could notice while looking at this is that if there's any dirt or debris, it seems that it could actually get caught in between where the lights actually come out. There's actually a little bit of depth there, so I'm not sure if this is in this. Again, bear in mind this is a pre-production model, so I'm not sure if they're going to fix this later, or if it's going to be flush along with the lettering itself as well as the body of the car, but it looks like dirt can get in between where the lettering is as well as where the backlight is, and it might just be annoying just to clean. And we have that matte finish there, two different finishes. We have sort of a matte color as well as a sort of satin finish right where the Lucid symboling is. Now we'll move on to where the lights are, and here we actually have 5 individual swiveling light housings, as the way Lucid describes them. They all have different micro assays, and these can individually point in any direction, and I guess this could be used for auto leveling features when you're going over bumpy roads or when you're turning in corners. So each one's, as you see here, very bright, very nice. And then all the way on the right here we have the blinker, so your turn signal when you turn left or right, and your high beams will be included somewhere in there as well. I believe it should be that part in between where the reflector is, or should I say the turn signal, and as well as the just a regular low beam light. It's that middle housing there, and as well you have that sort of light on top there that goes all the way across. It just becomes synonymous with the front of the Lucid. Now moving across here towards the middle part, it's right below the Lucid symbol, right above the main bumper, is your Lidar detector. And that's that big symbol right there in the middle. And you also have your front-facing camera there. Now the car is also going to have 4 other Lidar sensors or radar sensors on the 4 corners of the car as well. And if we move right below where the bumper is, we have another little sensor here, and these black fins that go all the way across the bottom of the car. This part I think is really unique. It's this vertical light right where the fog light area would be, and also on the right side of it is actually a small vent where air is supposed to go through and go to the wheel, where the wheel well is, the wheel arch, and then have airflow go in through there, and also help with thermal managing the brakes and cooling down the brakes. Usually the brake management systems that I've seen in other cars actually have the heat or the vents on the opposite end of the wheel arch towards where the driver's door is to extract the heat, but here we actually have air moving in this way. So unique approach, not something I've seen, but again, this is just what I was told. And then moving on to the top part, you have vents as well. They actually come in through where the grill area is right there. There's a small little sliver on the bottom, and they go over the car, so the air goes over the car and out towards where the mirrors are. Next, we're going to move on to actually see the front storage area, or the frunk. So lifting this up, you see a nice honeycomb design on top. We have just the air symbol there in plastic, honeycomb, not much up there. Moving around the outside, we do have a decent amount of space here, as you can see, and this does open up a little bit more. So you have a little strap here, you could just fold that up and in. Now, since this is a pre-production car, it won't have, this one does not have it, but on the full production Lucid car, they will have it. There's going to be a magnetic latch, so when you fold this up like so, it's actually going to stay in place just to have an easier way for you to put in your storage or luggage or whatever it may be, but we're just going to hold that there. And you can see that they put 2 duffel bag sized bags there just to show you how much the depth is and how much room you actually get. So even this is just fine if you go for a weekend, and again, you're going to have also the trunk space as well as the rear for the passengers if it's just a couple of you driving out, but a lot of space here. And windshield washer fluid here on the top left. Not much else really, but aesthetically it looks really nice. Moving on to the front fender, we'll move down here to where the wheels are. These are Pirelli P0 tires. The rims you can see here. Also, they have a nice disconnecting feature there in the middle, offset. It gives it a little bit more dimension. Just going to show you P0 there. And then let me see if I can find the size. So 245, 35, 21-inch tires. And I have been told that there are no plans as of right now to change the color caliper colored to red, yellow, or anything else. They're going to stay this sort of gray color with the Lucid lettering on the outside. We'll go down to where the side skirts are. You can see here there's some deviations. I do like that black part that's above the actual side skirt. Adds a little bit more dimension. Step up, we're going to go here where the mirror is. Mirror is very sleek. It's much wider. It's not as tall than most standard cars. We do have the black part that goes across the actual housing, and we see here that we have the integrated indicator light as well. There we go. We have a camera right on the bottom. We have a black finishing all the way on the outside, as well as a camera on the inside here. This is going to be for your blind spot. Looking at the side profile now too. Going across. Look at the handles, which are flush with the body of the car. We look at the beat pillar here. And what's interesting here, I'm going to stop for a second, is the window itself actually goes up, and underneath this, there's just so much overhang from these black plastic shrouds over here. It almost looks like the aftermarket rain deflectors that you can get, but it's just so much of an overhang that it's interesting that the windshield goes right underneath there. For some reason, it protrudes out more than I think I'm used to, but it's something to note. We can see our other camera here in the B-pillar. And we just have that line that starts off the middle, goes away across, and instead of just going linearly all the way across, it does dip down a little bit right underneath where the door handle is for the passenger seats. Now we're going to open the door handle. Just flips up just like that. Initially I thought this would be flimsy, but it does not feel so. I can't really get too much of underneath there, but it virtually makes no sound when it opens or when it closes, so when you lock or unlock it. This is with both of them open, as well as part of the trunk being open. And just another side profile. Initially, I thought this car would be much larger than it is. It is just a good size. I wouldn't say it's small. I think it's right in between maybe a mid-size or a completely large size. So in between maybe an E-Class and an S-Class. I know they benchmarked the S-Class against this, but again, visually, it looks not too hard to park and not too large, but also a little bit bigger than your normal size. But that could be just because there's so much space in the rear. But that's the visual that I get. Looking at the rear wheels now, again, same P0 tires. We also have the Lucid cap in there. And here we have a nice little badge. So we have a badge on the back, and you also have a badge here on the back C-pillar part on the outside of where the passenger seat is, and it says Grand Air, or Grand Touring Air. Here in the back, you can see the taillights going all the way across and getting a little bit fatter here towards the middle, then also narrowing out as it goes to the other end. License plate holder with the two lights. We have our taillights, and you can see how nice that is. Reminds me of Miami Vice in a way, but we have pinstriping there on the top and then a really fat LED on the bottom. Goes all the way across, and then feeds into the fat part here where it gets much broader, and we have the Lucid symbol. It almost seems like it's floating there in the middle. Here's just the bottom, so we have our backup camera as well as the two lights and the handle there that we could use to open the trunk. Now I'm going to show this from this side, and the reason I'm going to stop here is I initially was worried when this car was first shown that it didn't give you enough depth inside to put something. So you can notice this area here is a little bit closer, and there's not too much of an opening. Initially I thought this was going to be a problem, but what I was shown is actually you're able to put something in and then slide it across. So you don't have to actually lift something up and heave it all the way much deeper into how you normally would an SUV or any passenger car in the back. You could actually just put it on there where the side sill is and just slide whatever you need inside. A different approach to this, but either way, it's still interesting. And in person, this is so wide that you actually don't even have to worry about having that depth inside, because that depth they took away from maybe the trunk part, but they actually gave it to the passengers. But you do have a lot of space here in the back. So it looks odd in person. See here, so there's a side sill, you just put it here and you could just slide it all in the back. A lot of room there, as you can see. So we have here on the left, and then also, let me just open this part up here. We could see the duffel bags and how much space you have here. Again, you could fit these now horizontally as we had vertically in the front trunk. So you have the trunk part, and then we have this folded out. You can see that you have extra space on the bottom for extra bags. Here on the right side, we could open this up, and there's just a 12 volt there, and it's not connected to the bottom part, so you can't put skis lengthwise. I don't know if you'd be able to fit that. I doubt it, but there's a blocking part there, so this is just kind of open here as a small little storage spot. And I could just struggle with me putting that in there. You can see the two latches here. In order to fold down the seats, you just pull those out. And here I want to show you guys actually some features aren't listed. A lot of electric cars are doing this nowadays where they have a lot of features Within the car, it's just you actually have to go and find them out because they're not listed anywhere for whatever reason. And one of these is actually the soft close doors. So you have me here opening it. I close it a little bit, and it just pulls the door in. And here's just me showing you a little bit further out just to see what it looks like further away. Close it lightly, and it pulls it in. Here is one of the charging ports. There's one on each side of the car. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to really open this. I didn't have access to the interior car until later on in the week, but this is what the door handle, what the charging door looks like. Thanks for watching, guys. That was the exterior in-depth review of the Lucid Air Grand Touring trim. Hope you enjoyed. I also have an interior review of this car coming out, which I think I personally like a lot more because I think the interior is a little bit more secretive for some reason in this car, but I do go through all the menus and the buttons as best as I can. Really exciting for me. I hope you guys enjoy that one also, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.